If you can see it, you can be it. Our theme for this month is Spirit in Motion, Being the Transformation. And as we discussed last week, the process of transformation is ever dissolving, imagining, reforming, and flying. And all of these phases is in an ever-ascending spiritual transformation. Remember last week, we said that transforming is more than just changing. It's more than just becoming a better, brighter version of what it is now. To transform is to become something or someone that has heretofore not existed. Now, spiritually, we know that there is nothing to transform to. We already are divine, right? We already are, each and every one of us, a perfect expression of God. So remember last week I introduced you to the concept of the koan, all right? K-O-A-N, koan. And it's a seemingly paradoxical statement used in Zen Buddhism to meditate upon for enlightenment. So what I said last week is, the koan is transformation is the process of becoming that which you already are. So let me say it again, because it's really, it's like, let me think about this one. Transformation is the process of becoming that which you already are. And oftentimes in religious science or in science of mind we'll say, it's just a process of remembering who you are. We already know that at some level. You're just remembering it. So you see, you already are God in expression. You already are whole, perfect, and complete. And spiritually, this is true. We know that at some level, don't we? And at the same time, on the human plane of existence, we know that we don't always show up in life as whole, perfect, and complete, right? So we're in the process of peeling away the layers of false beliefs. Think about an onion, how you can peel those layers. And that's what we're doing. We're peeling the layers of false beliefs away so that our spiritual truth can shine through. Maybe not make you cry like an onion, but at the same time, just thinking about all those layers that are there. And every time we do that, every time we take off another layer, we transform. And every time we transform, we move to a higher level of living in and as spirit. And not only are we lifted up, but what happens? And we've talked about this. As we're lifted up, we lift up everyone. It's a process where everyone is lifted up. And last week we looked at the phase of dissolving. Remember the one phrase that can help us release some of the potential pain of this stage, the dissolving stage. And this is profound. I think Rob would really appreciate this. It is until it isn't. It is until it isn't. And I think it's that feeling of acceptance that allows it to pass and go through us. It is, okay, this is what it is right now, until it isn't, and then it's gone. Today we're going to look at the phase of imagining, which may come after, or perhaps a hint of it may come before dissolving. In the parable of the goldfish, and remember the story of the goldfish last week? The goldfish in the toilet, okay, transforming into a dolphin. Our little goldfish friend, he had an inkling, didn't he, before he was flushed? He kind of had an inkling that he was destined for something greater. So I think sometimes we have that inkling too, as we realize that we're going into a turmoil time of our life. Something good is coming out of us. Our theme today is, if you can see it, you can be it. Remember, it was Einstein who said that imagination is more important than knowledge. And I have to tell you, that puzzled me as I grew up. What? How can that be? How can imagine? Because imagination to me was all about play. Well, isn't that what we're doing here? Isn't this God's playground, right? It's all about play, and it's all about imagination. Religious science and New Thought tells us that everything is created twice. First at the level of mind, God's mind in the macrocosm, and our mind in the microcosm. And then second, in the physical world. So first it's an idea, and it's a thought, and then it becomes a thing. Everything that has ever been created, great or small, first had its place either in God's imagination or in the human imagination, which are both actually the same, right? Creation is simply and eloquently described in the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In my religious upbringing, I was raised in the Presbyterian Church. The Word, in quotations, in this passage was the Word of God that Jesus was sent here to share. Jesus was sent here to share with us the Word of God, but perhaps it meant more. Perhaps it meant an idea imagined. In the beginning was an idea of a greater and greater life expression, an idea of a greater and greater life expression planted in the rich creative soil of the divine mind. Imagination is the threshold of creation, but imagination, just imagination, is not enough. Passion and enthusiasm must be present. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, wrote, "We must relight the torch of our imagination by fire caught from heaven." Isn't that a wonderful image? We have to relight that torch of imagination by fire caught from heaven. At the human level of transformation, there is a spark of an idea which ignites your desire, passion, and enthusiasm, and sets the divine creative process into motion. And our symbol out there is the symbol of our creative process. And if you want to know more about that, see me after the service. We can talk more. Shakespeare describes the creative process in a poem like this: "As imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shape and gives to airy nothing a local habitation and a name." It is, in fact, that imagination coupled with passion and enthusiasm that takes hold of what seems to be airy nothing, making something from it. But the truth is that there really is no such thing as airy nothing, is there? There's a universal energy everywhere present, which is sensitive to our thoughts. Our thoughts are things. Our thoughts create. There's that universal energy that what's the word I'm looking for? That is impressed upon by our thoughts, which then turns into manifestation. Our imagination calls this universal energy into action. Our imagination is the dynamic force that can be put to amazing use. Do you remember being a kid and just thinking that you could conquer the world, you could do anything, and your imagination had you flying to the moon, it had you driving race cars, it had you building, great big buildings. It was amazing. There was nothing you couldn't do. It was just that space that felt so great. I just remember a time when I was probably about 10, 11, and Hogan's Heroes, I probably shared this before. Hogan's Heroes was and I loved that little doghouse that they opened up, and so I went to my parents and I said, "I'm going to build an underground tunnel." And my mom's going, "She'll dig, and then she'll get tired, it'll be all over," right? Well, okay, so here's what happened. I got the 3 teenage boys, they were in, young teens, to come help. And pretty soon we had a playhouse out there, and pretty soon we had a tunnel, and we had half of the area underneath the whole thing undone. And my dad's like, "Whoa, wait a minute here." So then we had to put in some structure. I said I didn't like to crawl under things. Well, back then I did. And we made a trench instead of a tunnel and put a plywood piece of board so it wouldn't collapse upon us. And we actually had a doghouse with a floor that lifted up. I mean, this was my dream to do this, and we did it. And I think my dad was really upset with my mom for thinking that this was an okay thing. But anyway, that's the kind of passion, that's the kind of imagination you have to grab onto and know that you can make it happen. I mean, thinking back on it now, I'm thinking, what the heck was I thinking? Really. And if he had had his way, I never would have gotten to try. So, that's the kind of thing that you really need to hold on to. So, Thomas Troward, we've all heard of Thomas Troward. He was a great influence on Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes studied him. He's part of our curriculum. And he was an English judge who spent much of his life growing up in India. And he said, having seen and felt the end, you have secured the means to the realization of the end. So if you see the end in mind that you want, and you feel how it feels, that's that law of attraction, right? Then you have to know that God wouldn't give you that idea without giving you the means to make it happen. You don't have to know how. You just have to trust. And that's the key. So one of Stephen Covey's, we've all heard of Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people is begin with the end in mind. When you've seen and felt something in consciousness, you have set into operation the means through which it can be achieved. You have activated the law. And this teaching is all about the love and the law. The love points the way, the law makes it happen. In The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes writes, we can so fill ourselves with the drawing power of attraction that it will become irresistible. Nothing can hinder us when we know that we are dealing with the one power that creates all from itself, moves all within itself, and yet holds everything in its place. So how do we do this? What is it we need to do? First, we have to envision what it is we want, right? And I think this is a sticking point for a lot of people. It's like, what do you want? You think about dinner time in your household. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? What do you want to go out? Well, I don't know. Maybe. Well, what do you want to eat? Well, I don't know. What do you want to eat? I mean, my goodness, we can't even choose what it is we want to eat. So how are we going to choose what it is we want in life? This is where we need to spend a little bit of time to determine what it is we want to experience. Because if you don't, somebody else is going to make the choice of what it is you're going to experience. So we need to get clear. What is it we want? And it's okay. It's okay to get clear on that. You can decide what it is you want to experience and make your claim. So dream big. Get a mental concept of the thing it is you desire, what it is you want. See yourself. Really spend a little time, like in The Secret, where the guy is sitting there in his armchair and he's shifting the car that he wants, right? He's making the noises. I mean, hey, whatever it takes to see yourself doing it and being it. Feel it. Gain passion and enthusiasm for it. Walt Disney, where did I get this? Walt Disney once said, if you can dream it, you can do it. Always remember that this whole thing started by a mouse. I love these words of Ernest Holmes. He says, free yourself forever from the thought that God may be pleased by a life of sacrifice, that the world is any better because of your misery, or that righteousness is more perfectly expressed through poverty than abundance. Know that greater abundance of every good thing which you are bringing out of your life, the more perfectly you are satisfying the divine urge within you. Anything you can dream of is not too great for you to undertake. And that goes with Marianne Williamson's, the world is not served by making yourself smaller, by putting your light under a bushel. That doesn't serve the world. Our greatness, when we allow ourselves to do that, that brings the world up, right? Second, have faith in your dream, in that which you have imagined. Believe in the possibility that is made yours by the all possibility of the Spirit indwelling. All things are possible to him that believes. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened unto you. According to your faith be it done unto you. These are all the words of the Master Teacher Jesus, iterating and reiterating the power of faith to bring about that which we imagine. Third, begin to act on that faith, pressing on with perseverance, determination, courage, and will toward achieving your goal. Belva Davis, who's a Russian leader, said, don't be afraid of the space between your dreams and reality. If you can dream it, you can make it so. Has anybody seen the movie Akeelah and the Bee? Anybody see that? Okay. Well, then I won't be spoiling any of it. It's about a very young girl who is living in a very poor, gang-infested community in Los Angeles, and she has a dream to win the National Scripps Spelling Bee. And I don't want to give the whole story away because you might want to rent it. It's really one of those uplifting, good stories. But it's a perfect example of everything that we're talking about today. As far as imagining, seeing it, and being it, she saw the winner of the spelling bee on television holding up the trophy, and that is what she saw for herself. She said, that's for me. That's for me. It became the screensaver on her computer. She proclaimed it aloud even when she didn't think she had the right to do so. Her faith waned now and then. Whose doesn't, right? But she persevered and she persevered and she persevered. And this really gets into our last phrase, flying, which will be in 2 weeks. But here's a preview. In the end, whether she achieved her goal or not, and that's not what mattered. And I'm not going to destroy the ending because I know you're going to all rush right out and rent this. But what mattered is who she became in the process, who she became on this journey, and what she discovered about herself. The little girl at the end of this movie is not the same one she was at the beginning. She was transformed, and so was her entire community. Because when I be lifted up, others are lifted as well. So we were going to have Suzanne share a dream that she has right now, but she couldn't be here this morning. So what I'd like to do is, does anyone have a dream that they'd like to share? A dream of something they would like to happen?
Debt-free with money to spare and to share.
Debt-free with money to spare and to share. What we're going to do is we're going to take a 17-second miracle. I'm going to ask all of you to see for 17 seconds the dream absolutely and completely fulfilled for Rich. Debt-free with money to spare and to share. So 17 seconds. Rich is going to time us. Let's see that now. Okay. Anyone else have a dream that we can know for you?
I would like to be selling my bean dip nationwide and be able to employ a lot of people and to just be able to give, to whomever, various charities.
Be wildly successful in selling your bean dip and all of the fabulous results that follow with that. Okay. 17 seconds, let's know that for Gina, okay? Okay. Anyone else?
Mortgage-free.
Mortgage-free. Barb would like to be mortgage-free. Okay, let's know that for Barb right now. 17 seconds of knowing that for Barb. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All right. We can always play tennis alone, but that's kind of exhausting, isn't it? It really helps to have other people join in knowing this truth for you. And that is what this teaching is about. That is why we have affirmative prayer. That is why we have affirmations. That is why we teach classes and why we have practitioners and all kinds of support systems in this teaching, not only at this center, but throughout the entire United States, Canada, and the world. We are here to know the truth about you because we're all one. And when we know the truth about you, we're knowing it about ourselves too. So we can't help but continue to raise up everyone that's involved. It's a good thing. So don't do this journey alone. Reach out, ask. Ask for a prayer partner. Ask for someone to know this truth for you, someone you can trust. You ask me, call me. That's what it's about. So we all know that our imagination is a powerful part in the transformation process. But my question is, how are you using it? How are you using your imagination in your life? Use it for more than just having. Use it to create a part of you would be proud to put your name on. Use it for how you want to be and how you want to exist. That's where our imagination can be the most powerful, because when we reach that space of being, everything comes to us. everything is attracted to us. And so that is what we're about today. And so it is.
So